been up to, dude?
Not much, man. Just trying to figure this stuff out, man. Just freelance. I'm about a year in full time, so just still figuring it out. Trying to get the big jobs, man. Trying to get the big jobs.
Dude, it takes a long time, dude. I've been doing this freelance for like 2 years already. And I mean, it's like being patient.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the connections is what's really like puts you out there.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, Houston's a pretty good market too, because it's like, it's big, but it's not like super saturated with a bunch of like people. Which I mean, it has its pros and cons.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel like there's not a lot of for videographers and photographers here in Houston that like, especially like the community is like you see in like LA and New York and stuff. I feel like they're always together. And here in Houston, I don't really see anybody like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to like. I would love. I'm an open book. I would love to learn from anybody like you or anybody else. And if I reach out to people, everyone's kind of like doing their own thing, or everyone just does their own thing here. Houston's different for sure.
See, I had a conversation with one of my friends. He has a travel app they're doing, and it started off doing like ride sharing, right?
Yeah.
And then it's kind of slowly evolving into like travel and stuff like that. And he was just saying like the issue with like Houston is like the way the city's built. We're just so spread out.
Yeah.
And we're at LA, New York, like you have these compact like zones. So it's just easier to like, hey, let's take a train, meet up like in 10 minutes and shoot.
That's true.
Whereas here, I mean, it took you what, like 40 minutes, 50 minutes
yeah,
to
it
get
took
out
like
here?
40 minutes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so like that's like one of the big issues, and that's why I think Austin does a lot better for creatives.
Yeah,
it's
true,
closer,
true.
and it's the vibe is already there.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what I've kind of noticed. So yeah, guys, this is pretty much, what do you go by? Mike?
I go by Mike DeLeon, Instagram handle, BigCameraGuyHou. Yeah, well, filmmaker. Well, like I said, videographer, photographer. Been doing it full time for coming up on a year actually. Yeah, this August 19th will be 1 full year full time. Probably about 2 years figuring stuff out, freelancing, and I was still working my last job, and then I finally took the jump about a year ago. So
I'll do. We'll get
going good.
We'll get into it. Yeah, for everyone that doesn't know, like this is the first time I actually meet him up. He followed me on Instagram like a year ago or so.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Dude, and I started noticing you liking all my stuff. You're actually commenting, like actually engaging, which is something people don't ever do.
Man, that's a thing too, man. I like to when I see good stuff, I'll like do like fire, like put a bunch of emojis just to like, because I know how that feels.
Yeah,
it feels good.
Yeah, it does.
So I do it to other people because I hope they'll do it back to me, and I just know how that feels putting out content, not getting a lot of engagement, like. So I'm like, I always try to pick people up. Like, I'll shoot them a message like, "Hey, man, your stuff's doing great. Like, keep it up." Stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, that's something I've
all
noticed.
Positive vibes, man. No competing over here.
That's what I'm saying. Like, in the beginning, it's always like, yo, you're trying to compete, and I get it. You know, it's like you think you're trying to get more work, and taking work from you, but you don't realize there's just so much amount of work that even if you had if you were filled every day, it would be so much. Sure. I think if we build as a community, it's a lot better, more beneficial than just trying to like beat the other person down all the time.
Yeah, I was just talking to one of my friends, Sam, the other day, and I actually had texted you about vlogging. I mean, I'm not too experienced with vlogging, and I was telling my girl, I was like, man, I'm just gonna reach out to them and just ask them like, how do you do it? Because I'm not too familiar with it. And then me and him were talking. He was giving me a bunch of tips, and then you even gave me a bunch of tips, and I'm just like, why aren't more creatives like this? Like everyone's just so like, nah, I don't want to give you my tips, and I don't want to, everyone's just competing all the time, and I just feel like if everyone just works together, everyone can learn more. And like I said, I'm open book. I'm willing to. I still feel fairly new to this. I feel like I don't even know what I'm doing half of the time. So.
I mean, dude, I've been seeing your work. Like when I first started following me, just like everyone else, I just kind of I didn't hit that follow back just to kind of see with all the bots and stuff. I hate getting the follows from follows and all that shit that happens. But then I started it's actually real following. So I was like, maybe give him a follow back. And then I've seen like your improvement, like massive, like
thank you.
Throughout the whole year. So like slowly,
it's been a big jump. Yeah, it's kind of cringing looking back a year ago. I'm like, oh, but. Hey, that's how you know you're growing. So,
dude, did you have that moment? I remember because I really like doing like a lot of the slow stuff. That moment when I realized that like instead of like doing 50% on like a time ramp, just up the frames per second to get like a smooth. I remember the first time I like discovered that, I was like blown away. I was like, I've been doing it wrong the whole time. So like I know like the moments in between of like, dude, this is just like up my game like 10 times now with the possibilities I can do.
what do you call it? Sound effect, not sound effects. Yeah, sound effects. I had put in one of my videos and I put it together and I put it out and I was like, I think this is the one. Like I was like, I think this is what really stepped me up. And then since that video, I put it out. It was the one I did with my boy Frankie, artist.
Dude, I've seen you work with him, dude. He's got sick work to begin with.
That dude, shout out to Frankie. He's cold, man. That's my boy. But that's the one where I felt like I was like, I think I know what I'm doing now. And so kind of since then, it was just growth from there. I'm constantly watching YouTube videos. Just that's the way I learned. You know, I didn't go to school, I didn't go to college, so.
I mean, same way, dude. I mean, I went to college, but for completely different reasons. I went to engineering, and I mean, all my followers, everyone who was listening to the podcast already know, just kind of didn't like it and got into freelance and the whole video stuff. But I mean, what I've noticed that I'm struggling with now is just like in the beginning, like your improvements are massive. Yeah. And then once you get like 2 years in, 3 years in, it's like the improvements just get slower and slower. Most of the time, you're building up clients where you just don't have enough time to learn something new. Or now it's like, yo, I got to learn After Effects, or I got to learn something new. And it's just taking like that much longer. And that's my issue right now. Is just like, I've been doing the podcast, trying to get YouTube, client work. I mean, freelance is how I pretty much survive nowadays. Yeah. So like finding time to like learn something is pretty difficult nowadays.
Yeah, I was just, cause I used to be so against like the whole effects, like the whooshes and all that stuff. And then I'm like, no, I'm just gonna stick to my style only. Then I like I said, I started noticing, I'm like, I haven't really gone it. Like I'm kind of at a weird place right now. Like people are liking my style, but I don't feel like I'm growing. So I was like, why am I pushing? Like, why not learn that style? Yeah. It's what people want. You know, they ask me like, hey, can you like add transitions? And I'm usually like, that's not really my style. But like now I'm like, why not learn that too to add to the table? So the people who do come, the clients who do come to me asking for that type of video, I'm able to do it. So it's more work for me, more money for me. So
but yeah, it's more money for you too.
So
to
it's
learn.
like, why not learn? I don't know why I was pushing to a side the whole time. Like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I refuse to use effects and stuff like that. But
I mean, it's just building the tools, dude. Yeah. Like, and I mean, in the beginning, like, I think everyone's effects are terrible because you just use them where you use them in parts that just don't need to be. And then as you slowly get better and better, you realize, hey, everything's important, but there has to be a time and place. And what I've evolved more slowly now is like not focus too much on the effects, but actually like the story, the composition. Like I recently did a video for a Bali contest I was in. I did it in 5 hours because I was in LA, traveling all over the place, and I just didn't have time to do anything spectacular. And the first video I made was just like a simple travel video, just like a cool song, cool shots, but there was no meaning behind like any other travel video. And then what I did on the second one I did, I was like, okay, let's think more of like the actual story and then build from there. And I don't know how I got second place.
Oh, really?
I didn't win. It didn't win. But that's when I realized like, yo, it doesn't have to be that complicated. Like if you can tell a story, that's where that's the direction you want to be like heading towards.
No, for sure. Storytelling is for sure important.
It is. For sure. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, for everyone that, of course, you said a couple stuff already, but for everyone that doesn't know you, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, your journey throughout the past couple of years.
Cool. So once again, Mike DeLeon. I started. I don't want to say I since I was a kid, I wanted to be a filmmaker and stuff. But since I was a little kid, I used to always have a camera with me. My dad's big VHS tape. He used to always get so mad. I used to take it everywhere. Got older, got a little handheld, and then once GoPros dropped in like 2011, I was obsessed.
That was a game changer,
dude. It was like got a GoPro, got my pole, just everywhere, And I always wanted to make cool videos from everywhere I went. And when Instagram was only 15 seconds.
Dude, I remember those days.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, how can I make this dope Instagram edit 15 seconds? So I was GoPros for like 4 years. And then I started seeing people add drones. I'm like, shit, I want a drone. So I got the drone. I got the Phantom 3. I was like, I got the Phantom 3 and I got a GoPro. Because I do a lot of like backpacking. I travel a lot. I like to do a lot of stuff. So a lot of outdoor stuff. So I started adding that GoPro drone. So started making more videos like that, still 15 seconds. And then I think it went to 30 for a little bit.
Yeah, I went to like 30 seconds, then a minute, and then IGTV now.
I went to a minute, and then it was, and this, so the whole, let me back this up, sorry. I was working for oil and gas company since I was 20 years old, Technip FMC.
So after high school, you went directly?
Yeah. So after high school, I graduated 2008. I worked at Lowe's for a little bit, just trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Thought I was going to go to college, didn't work out. So I started working there when I was 20. I was like, I'm good. My dad works for an oil company. He'd been there 40 years. Why
hey,
not
bro,
me?
It's fucking good money at
so
gas
20
company,
years
oil and
old,
gas.
20 years old, I'm bringing in 70, 80,000.
Yeah,
like,
you're balling, yeah.
I'm still living at home. I'm good. Like, what's up? So I did that for 8 years, and man, I just got burned out, dude. Honestly, I was like, I'm sick of the long hours, 12-hour days, 14-hour days, weekends, holidays. I'm like, man, like, forget this. So I started looking for like a way out. So back to the filming stuff. So people started asking me, hey, can you record? How much do you charge for videos? I remember the first message, like, hey, can you come film my party? I'm like, what? Like, you're going to pay me to film? I was like, I don't know, $50? They're like, okay, cool. And it was a boat party. And I was like, all right. So I filmed their boat party, gave me $50. I'm like, damn, someone really paid me. I just showed up with a GoPro and a drone, so whatever. And that was when I first realized, like, man, you could make some money doing this.
Yeah.
And so I still didn't think about, I didn't even think about buying a camera. And my friend's mom was a doctor. And she had asked me if I could go film her doing some procedure and do like a little showing the office off and stuff like that. So I was like, all right. So I showed up with my phone, dude. I showed up with my phone, my GoPro, and my drone again. And then, so she had no idea. So she thought, I just acted like I knew what I was doing. Like, all right, set up here. I was trying to set her up the shots. I put the GoPro on her head. I put the head strap on her. And so I made this little video, and for some reason, she loved it. And it's still playing in her office to this day. It's so embarrassing. So with that, she paid me actually like $1,200 because she was like, hey, can I prepay you for 4 more? I was like, yeah, sure. So
damn.
she's like, yeah. So she's like, here's $1,200. I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, all right. So with that, I went and bought a Sony 6300. And then I bought a 35 millimeter lens. So that was like my setup. Did a couple jobs, then bought a crane. And then that's when stuff started kicking off with the, what do you call it? With the stabilization. I mean, with the gimbals. So yeah, so that's pretty much started doing a lot of jobs, and then started getting a lot of inquiries. And then I started getting a lot of consistent work. And then so I was still working my job 12 hours a day, waking up at 4 a.m., be there at 5, get off at 5 p.m., go to my jobs after work.
The hustle.
Yeah, and then just editing till 1, 2 in the morning, doing the same thing. Man, I did that like 6, 7 months. Yeah. Just doing both jobs and just exhausted. And then I started, I was like, man, I started like doing all the math. Like, okay, I had 2 for sure gigs. Like they were like, oh, we're locked in for like a year. It's a real estate gig, 2 real estate gigs. So I was like, just with them alone, I can survive. Yeah. If anything, if all my other gigs go wrong, I can survive just off them. So I literally just went into work, and I was like, hey, actually, no, I called in for a full week because I was like, let me just see if I can get like a routine going. So I called in for a full week, just trying it out and like just putting myself out there more, like trying to learn as much as possible within that week. And then I went back on that Monday, and then he called me in, and I thought I was going to get fired. So I was like, well, that's easy for me. Quitting's hard. It takes a lot of balls to quit, especially if you've been there 8 years and you have so much invested into it. Yeah. And he called me in the office, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to get fired. And then he's just like, hey, man, is everything okay? And I was like, what? Like, no, it's not okay, man. I was like, I'm not good. Like, today's my last day. I'm putting it in my. He's just like, what? You're gonna quit? I was like, yeah, like I'm done.
Dude, how's that feeling?
It was it was crazy. I still can't believe it sometimes because I don't think about like. I'm more of like I take action and then I don't think about the long run. Yeah. And so like I just kind of just said, fuck it, like I'm out. And then they're like, it's all right, like you'll be back. And so like, no, I'm not coming back. Like fuck off. Like no, I will make sure I do not come back. And so I remember the first day after I quit, I woke up, I was like, oh shit, I don't have to go to work. Like, all right, let's start figuring this out. So I mean, a year later, I'm still figuring it out. I kind of dove in head first. So the first couple months was pretty rough. just figuring out the business side of being a freelancer. Because, dude, I just thought like, oh, I'm gonna quit and create. That's all I just worried about. But dude, there's a whole business side of.
I mean, you got the biggest component now is just getting started and putting the work. 'Cause I mean, I think business is just, you learn along the way, And I think I had a podcast this week with a friend of mine also freelancing, and we talked about like taxes and stuff like that.
That was yesterday, right?
Yeah, I posted it yesterday, and we had that, and it's one of those things that's like, you just don't get taught this stuff at school.
No,
you know, like the actually important things in life, school. I don't know. That's why I don't like the school system too much. Even in college, like you just don't get any of this, and that's what you gotta learn along the way: how to save money, how to like manage your finances, how to just like have savings. But you also gotta invest that money back into the business if you want to grow. Like if you wouldn't have got those $1,200 and put it into a new camera, like you can't upsell your next client. You know, like. So it's just crazy seeing how much you've literally gone through all the stories. Like I've gone like, and I think what I like about it is like you didn't let like not having equipment stop you.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say that's like my biggest thing. I tell people like, I'm like, dude, at the end of the day, yes, equipment helps. It does. But if you don't have it, use what you have. Like, I hear people like, oh man, my videos aren't good because I still got an A6000, A6300, 6500. I'm like, dude, I used the 6300 for a whole year, booked a shitload of weddings, and no one could even tell. Now I have the A7S II, which is decent. It's a good video camera.
It's a good camera.
Yeah, it's good. Pictures, I wish it was a little better, but I'm using what I can. Like, I'm not making excuses. Basically, I try not to make excuses for what I don't have.
Yeah.
I catch myself sometimes. I'm like, oh man, if I had this lens, it would be better. I'm like, no, why didn't you just make it better with what you have? So I really try to just use what I have and not. My biggest thing is try not to make excuses on why this isn't better.
I feel you, dude.
Just figure it out. I figure out I problem solve. So that's.
Yeah. I mean, you saw my closet, dude. I have like every damn stabilizer. And I mean, looking back now, I'm like, they're all pointless.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a time and place for each of them. But I spent so much time in the beginning just accumulating like
gear,
all these like stabilizers and all the tech and stuff. I mean, I like the tech, but like I just don't ever use half of it. I think I don't have used that Ronin, the old one, the M. I haven't used it like in a year. Damn. Like I've used the M.
It's pretty heavy, huh?
It is pretty heavy. And then like with the 1DX, like I just don't like the flow too much. Yeah. The Ronin S is like, I love it.
No, I like it too. I don't like zoom lenses though. I realized that this past weekend. I don't like I'm like, damn, I don't know what focal length I want to choose from. I don't like choosing, and it's just so big. Like I had the G Master this weekend. I was at a festival filming, and I was like, man, let me try. I'm gonna rent the G Master because everyone talks about it. I mean, it's great. It's great for pictures. I enjoyed it more for pictures, but when I was shooting for video, I was struggling to get it balanced, and my Ronin
is it one of those that extends out a little bit?
Yeah.
See, that's the issue I had recently because I got a 2470 as well. Okay. The first time on the Ronin S, and the thing with the 1635 f4, like it doesn't extend. It doesn't internally, right? With the Canon. So I never have an issue with it. So this is the first time, I think I was at a wedding or something, and I got the zoom lens, and I was like, I have to restabilize it every single time. And like, especially in the fast pace, like weddings, like you don't got time for that kind of stuff, you know? So I was just like, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So I basically just balanced it in the center. Like I put it like at 55 and I just balanced it there and I was going back and forth. But like the whole time it kept boop, they kept beeping and making all these weird noises and glitching. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna use a zoom lens again.
See, if you want to use a zoom lens with the stabilizer, glide cam, dude. Glide cam takes like 10 seconds to balance, and you're good. Yeah, because that's what I hate about like the Rona. It's too digital, you know, and it has that kind of like robotic look to it. And I mean, I use it here and there. I use it most of the time nowadays. But like yesterday, I shot like a real estate video for a client I have, and I just went back to Ronin because I'm not Ronin, the glide cam.
Really?
Because I was just like, it's just, I don't know, there's a different feel to it. Like
looks more natural.
Looks more natural. Like I can control it more. And I mean, that's what I initially started with. So I'm like really comfortable with it as well. So I definitely know what you mean about just like the zoom lenses. I mean, they're convenient though.
Yeah, no, for sure. But like I said, I'm learning, man. I'm still learning on what to use, what not to use. Like I said, I try not to make excuses. I made it work. Footage looks great. Pics came out good. So that's probably my biggest thing for people. And another thing too is like I just know a couple guys. They're all about the look.
Yeah.
Like how your equipment looks, and like they want to get this crazy big rig, and they want to get these huge lenses, and like, man, my camera looks badass. Like I look like I know what I'm doing, but it's like, do you know what you're doing though? Like, you know what I mean?
Dude, I'm always funny when like I go to like a show or a festival, and I mean, I guess it makes sense if it's a massive festival, but I see people just carrying like reds and like all that. Like, I'm like, how do you move that shit? Like, you know, like a red. Like if you really want to optimize it, it's a 2-3 person system.
Yeah.
You know, you want to have like person with the focus pull in. You want to get the stabilizer, a proper like stabilizer. Like I'm just like I think it's an overkill. Like sometimes.
No, for sure.
I think I was hearing somewhere that like, because you know like there's like 8K, 5K, all these like whatever like. I was hearing that like people to some extent like you can't distinguish what's like 4K from like 8K or whatever. Like there's only so much like the eye can like can see, and I think a lot of people like try to get more and more. I think the difference you can see is in the dynamic range. So like the colors and
that's all I know, because I rarely use 4K only because like Instagram is gonna compress it to like 720 anyways, and all my clients are for Instagram.
Yeah.
So I'm like. Well, weddings I use 4K, but unless I'm like, why use all that storage and stuff for 4K if I'm not even going to use it? You know what I mean? So like that, like the new, like everyone's like, I need that 4K 60 FPS. I'm like, for what?
For what, dude?
You're just posting fitness videos on Instagram. You know what I mean?
The thing is, like most people don't even know the difference. Like 1080 and 4K, if it's color graded correctly and everything. Like, so I always tell people, like, even if you shoot 4K, there's a difference. Like our phones shoot 4K.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not the same 4K you're gonna get in the camera, because it's just like the dynamic range is different. Everything's like your settings are different. So I was like, I rarely shoot 4K unless someone really like wants it. And the problem with the 1DX is I need to use one of those C-Fast cards. It's like $500 for just like a 64 gig. So that's so like
everything's so expensive.
So that's one of the things. Once you like go up, everything gets more and more and more expensive, dude.
Yeah, damn. But yeah, man. So like kind of after I quit and stuff, just figuring out, trying to get more gigs, and then
what did you do to get gigs? Just kind of like
referrals. Honestly, like I know a lot of people like just partying and just. I'm an extrovert, so I like to meet a lot of people, a lot of new people, and just talk and always conversating and stuff like that. So basically, it's all word of mouth. It's been word of mouth for 2 years, and it's just been growing, honestly. And that's kind of how I do my business. Instagram. Everyone asks me like, "Oh, where's your website?" Like, I need a website.
I need a website too.
I need one, but for now, I'm just like, "Oh, here's my Instagram." So, but it's all been word of mouth, man. And usually if I want to get into something, I'll reach out. Like for weddings, I wanted to do weddings, and I reached out to my cousin like, hey, your wedding's coming up. Like, are you going to get a videographer? She's like, no, I couldn't afford it. I was like, look, I'll do it for free. Like, no problem.
Yeah.
I did it. I mean, for her, it's like high risk, low reward. I mean, low risk, high reward. You know what I mean? And so I'm filling it out. I finished the video, sent it to her. She loved it. She posted it. Boom, blew up.
Yeah.
And I posted it on a couple bride websites, and then brides were like, "Oh my God, so good! Da, da, da. How much you charge?" And I was like, $500.
Dude, you're cheap.
Yeah, I was like, so dude, like the first week, I think I booked like 10 weddings for $500, and then it wasn't until the third wedding I was like, okay. No,
you get burned out. It's a lot of work.
I was like, this is not $500 worth. So after that, I doubled it, got a couple more, doubled it again, got a couple more, added a little bit more, somewhere around like the 25 to 3K range.
Yeah.
And dude, just doing them, you just get better and better. You learn. You know what I'm saying? You just know all right, don't do that again, don't do this again, do this, try this. So weddings are pretty lenient. You can try a lot of new things in weddings.
I mean, I liked weddings. Yeah. That's how initially,
I enjoy them.
Even nowadays, that's how I mostly make a lot of my money. Although I'm trying to slowly like pull out of the wedding game, just cause like, I don't know, it doesn't really satisfy my creativity. Yeah. And like, I mean, if anything, like I enjoyed the destination weddings. Not that I really done anything. I did one in Beverly Hills recently. And that was cool. Like you get to travel, you get to do all that kind of stuff. And now I'm slowly through that video. Like I got reached out through another client out in LA to shoot another video. That's how you start like building. But I mean, I like them, but at the same time, I know the amount of work that they require, and I'm just kind of like in between because I really want to focus like on YouTube and like just the podcast in general, just other stuff. So I definitely know. So you actually enjoy them?
Yeah, I like them. Like I said, I like being around a lot of people. Like I show up and I'm just like, hey, what's going on? Like, and they're always so surprised how like involved I am.
Yeah,
because dude, like. Like videographers, photographers, they're known as like introverts and they're tucked in the corner and, just I'll film from over here and set their tripod up and just, you know what I mean? In the dark, like no one even sees them. And me, I'm like
just peeking through the window.
And me, I'm like super involved talking to them the whole time. Like, and like, especially during the reception, I'm all in their face with the camera and stuff. So it's great, man. I enjoy them. I probably will get burned out. Eventually.
I mean, especially in the beginning. My goal is to probably have like 20 or 30 weddings throughout the year that will pay like 2, 3, 4, whatever K. Now, do you have an issue with like Houston, like the market, like at a certain price, or do you notice like people still pay up?
No. Here in Houston, they don't want to pay. They don't want to pay over $1,000. They're like, oh, you're out of my budget. I'm like, oh, what's your budget? Oh, $800, $1,200, $50. I'm like, you're kidding me. And you know what it is, dude? It's because of people like me when I first started putting out better quality than, as good as quality as like a 2K, 3K wedding, but I didn't know. So I was charging $500, $400, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're trying to get lucky. So I do have a problem with that. I just recently put out a video and dude, I woke up with like 40 messages in my inbox and they were all low budget. 500, 800,000. I'm like, no, sorry, I can't.
See, what you needed to start doing though is get more into like, let's make a business out of it and get the person that you were a year, 2 years ago to do that, and you just take like a 10% commission.
That's true.
That's what I'm slowly trying to get more into because I want to do work that I really feel passionate about. But at the same time, like I need money, and I just haven't made that bridge.
Yeah,
and that's like a way you could like you're making money not doing anything. Yeah. You just I got you the job. You can go out, do it, and then boom.
It's hard for me to trust people though.
That's same. I can't trust people, especially when you've been doing it so long. Yeah. And through all like the hours you put into it, like it's your name on the line.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, it's your name, and it's very hard for me to even find a second shooter. It's hard for me.
Yeah.
And like, cause like the whole time I'm like staring at him, making sure, and then I'll be too focused on him making sure he's doing his stuff right that I'll miss stuff over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, I do it by myself. It's hard, but
it's hard.
I make it work. You know what I mean?
I got like a second shooter. I shoot here now and then, and I met him at I think I met him at a shoot or something, and I just kind of like, come out to one of these shoots. It's super simple, like just want raw footage. And I only bring them though when the budget's there. Like I'm not just gonna bring them to just bring them, you know. And he always works with me, like, hey, I'll help you out and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really just building that trust with someone.
Yeah, no, I need to find someone, man, because it's rough. It's hard. It's a lot of running around. I'm dead tired after, but I'll figure it out. It's
dude, let me know and I'll help you out.
Oh yeah, see, I'll let you know for sure. I got a lot coming up. I got October through December. I'm pretty busy, so
damn. Yeah, I got something. I got one in the works for October. Okay, and I got one in November, and I got one actually tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
So that should be
tomorrow.
Friday. Friday. It's a Friday wedding.
Get it out the way.
Dude, it's crazy. I even got like a wedding like to 2021. Like I booked it that far ahead.
Booking them that far ahead kind of works. It's like a commitment. Like, damn, am I still gonna be doing weddings in 2021? You know what I mean? So. I'm like, right now, I'm taking bookings only until July of 2020.
Yeah.
Who knows what I'm going to be doing next year?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, just taking it day by day, man.
I figured if I was like doing whatever I want to do, working on big projects, whatever, like I can put a day aside. And I think it's just the work ethic in me. And like, if I make a commitment, I'll do it regardless of whatever else I'm doing at the time. So, I think that's as far as I'll push it. But that's like a rare. And she was friends, like one of my girlfriend's friends. So I was like, all right, I'll help you out.